Hi, I'm Shayla, and I'm going to tell you how to keep someone sane who's claustrophobic and is stuck in an elevator for 1.5 hours. Yes, that's what happened to me yesterday. After Zumba class, I was teaching to a mother and a daughter, and the mother has disabilities. So I thought it would be more convenient for her to go downstairs with an elevator. I am teaching in a community center. So in the Netherlands, or at least in Utrecht, the community centers are not run by staff. It's just a building, and you can rent a space in the building, and it's just frequently I'm the only one in the building with my students for my Zumba class. So there was no one else in the building. We got in the elevator, the door closed, the elevator moved for like a second, and it stopped. Prior to getting in the elevator, the daughter, an adult, she mentioned that she would rather take the stairs. But this was their first time at that location. So she didn't feel comfortable walking back by herself to take the stairs, and I was accompanying her mother in the elevator. So she's like, okay, I'll just sit it out and let's go with the elevator. And it had hardly moved an inch when it stopped, and it wasn't budging. It wasn't going upstairs. It wasn't going downstairs. Yes, we did hit the alarm button. No response. I called the emergency number of the city, and the responder told me he was coming over. So I asked him, I said, do you have access to the community centers? He says, yes, I have access to all buildings. I said, okay, well then you'll be fine. We'll be waiting for you in the elevator. So he came, only to find out that he couldn't enter that part of the building. Actually, that building, some of you might know it because you've been to an event on March 5th where we were dancing in that building. He was not able to enter. That was a disappointment already. Like 15 minutes in, we were hoping that he would be the one to release us from the elevator, which didn't happen. I am actually in of Utrecht. Let me show you around. Okay, yes. So we were already disappointed that he couldn't help us. Then he reached out to other people while I was reaching out to the elevator company. And a man answered, and he was like, did you hit the alarm button? Yes, man. When we women are stuck in an elevator for over 20 minutes, yes, we will hit the alarm button. Basically, I think everyone will. So, yes, we had hit the alarm button. Then he asked where we were. I told him, Utrecht. And he's like, yeah, that's a 1.5 hour drive for me. And I was like, yes, so what are you telling me? To get comfortable? What is it? He's like, yeah, I don't feel like coming over. It was 9:30 p.m. almost by then. He says, yeah, I don't feel like coming over. It's a 1.5 hour drive. I was like, what? I said, don't you have a colleague? Maybe that lives closer by? He said, yes, I might have one. I'm going to call him. In the meantime, back to the topic. Yes, the claustrophobic daughter. She was freaking out. That was already happening like 20 seconds in when the lift wasn't moving anymore. She was already freaking out. So I tried to distract her from being locked up in a confined space by showing her videos of us dancing, any kind of videos of my holidays, all of it. But at some point, I needed to reach out to other people, which I did. The employees from the specific community center weren't responding. Remember, it was 9 p.m. And I reached out to other employees from other community centers. One responded and sent me contact information. By then, the daughter was already having a hard time and calling the fire department. And the fire department had like a zillion questions. So in the end, I told her, I said, let's not go about it that way. Let's have the city call the fire department. They'll be more prone to respond and to actually come. So the first responder that I talked to, remember, who wasn't able to enter the building, he called the fire department and was told by the fire department that they weren't coming. The reason for them not coming is that it was not clear whose responsibility it was, because they would have to kick down doors, several doors, in order to reach us. So they were not coming. That was like half an hour, 45 minutes in, and the daughter was having a really rough time. My focus was on keeping it together, not just to solve the issue, but also I thought every thing that I would say that would make her more emotional would make it harder on her to keep it together and not have a meltdown in the elevator. So I could not be like, when he told me that the fire department wasn't coming, all I could do was keep a straight face, pretend like nothing happened, nothing was said, nothing valuable, and continue my search. So I called the other phone number that I got from another community center employee, and he said he was coming. It's like, okay, at least someone is coming. And then the elevator guy called. So I was pretty happy that he called, which was like over half an hour in. And he said he was unable to reach his colleague. And I asked him, it's like, where does your colleague live? In Utrecht, the city where we were. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, he said he might be asleep. 9:30, which is kind of early, but of course he could be asleep. I said, okay, well, could I call him? Or could we send someone over? Because if we send someone over to him, that's only max 15 minutes from here. That's how big our city is. That's always going to be faster than you driving for 1.5 hours. Guess what his reply was? He's not on call. The man I was talking to was on call, but unwilling to come. And I was like, yeah, but if you give me his address, I could ask the city guy to drive by and to wake him up and to come. It's like, yeah, but I don't know how he's going to take that since he's not on call. And it's like, what? You're on call and you don't want to come? He's close because it's too far. He's close by and he's not coming because he's not on call. So I was like, yeah. And he said, I said, well, then there's only one option, and that's that you're coming. And he said, yeah, but it's a 1.5 hour drive. I said, well, we've been talking for over half an hour now. How come you didn't get into the car yet? Because when you knew that your colleague wasn't coming, you could have gotten in the car already. He's like, yeah, but I have a family life, which is basically what I was like. From the inside, it was like getting really upset and angry, but having to keep a straight face to prevent my student from having a meltdown. So I was very adamant on one, solving the issue, and on the other hand, preventing her, the claustrophobic person, from having a meltdown. And in the end, the other city guy came. He was able to open the door. The fire department felt sorry for us, so they came after all. And since the door was opened by the other guy, they were able to enter. And it took them like 20 more minutes or half an hour to release us from the elevator. So in the end, all good, but we were stuck for 1.5 hours. And when you're stuck for 1.5 hours, if I would see the title of this video, I'd be like, what? 1.5 hours, just watch some videos and you'll survive. But when you're in that elevator and everyone is turning you down, everyone you are calling for help is unable to help or unwilling to help, 1.5 hours is long, and especially because you don't know in advance that it's going to take 1.5 hours, or if you should get comfortable and wait until the next morning. Okay, I'm telling you all of this as an example of willpower. We are having a challenge in the Movement Makers group regarding the topic willpower, and I was thinking of what to record for my solo video and thought of this topic since I suppose it took quite some willpower to keep a straight face while being turned down, not knowing when to be released out of the elevator, and to stay focused on thinking of solutions, to be creative while, well, it was kind of a predicament, wasn't it? So I think I kind of succeeded. I'm outside now, as you can tell, and I think I succeeded because I have quite a developed muscle for willpower. I think it's a muscle. If you use it frequently enough, you'll be able to maintain your willpower even in predicaments like yesterday's. What else is it I want to share with you regarding willpower? Actually, looking back, I am surprised about how focused I was on solving the issue despite the circumstances, and keeping it together all the time, calming down the daughter. And she even called me an hour ago to thank me. All her friends who have heard about what happened were like, okay, so how much did you freak out? Did you scream? Did you cry? And she was like, no, none of that, because my Zumba instructor kept me sane. It was a challenge, but I literally had to use all my willpower, even though if you look at the other videos in the challenge, you'll see that one of my challenges regarding willpower is to dial it down. I think I have more, like, too much willpower instead of not enough. But in this case, I needed all of it. And I put it through to good use. So that's basically my story regarding willpower, my solo story. I hope you like it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My name is Sheila Cruz on Instagram, SHEILA KROES. First name and last name. And on Facebook as well, SHEILA KROES. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. This is Utrecht.